Muscle mass is the fountain of youth. It is the hill I will die on. And the more muscle mass and durability you have on your body, the more capability that you have to do the thing that you love, because this is our most important and vital piece of equipment. If we don't have our bodies working well, it doesn't matter how great your $10,000 bike is.
Welcome to All Bodies on Bikes, the podcast, where all bodies are good bodies, all bikes are good bikes, and all rides are celebrated.
All Bodies on Bikes is a movement to create and foster a radically inclusive bike community. So join your hosts, I'm Ellen.
And I'm Marley.
As we explore the complexities of the biking world, help us break down barriers and create the world that we want to see.
And don't forget that all bodies really means all bodies, not just larger bodies, but bodies of all sizes,
Ages,
races,
abilities,
genders,
sexualities,
and beyond. Come along for the ride. I'm super excited to introduce our guest for today. We haven't had a lot of guests on the show recently, but there's a couple topics that we wanted to talk about that me and Ellen don't have the expertise in. And one of those is like strength and getting strong, and weightlifting is all the rage for women, especially our age. And so we decided to bring on an expert who is super aligned with the All Bodies on Bikes ethos and mission. And so I'm really excited to introduce you all to Miranda Lyle. Miranda is a strength and performance coach, mountain biker, outdoor enthusiast, lover of noodles and pit bulls, and the founder of Play Strong Fitness and the Off Trail Mountain Biking Conditioning Programs, which is her proudest achievement in her career. We're going to talk about that. She has 2 decades of experience in the fitness industry and specializes in helping recreational athletes build strength and resilience in their body so they can support the activities they love. I first met Miranda at a Shredley retreat a couple years ago and was really intrigued because she talked about return from injury. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been dealing with some injuries for the last couple of years, honestly. And I have actually been working with Miranda a little bit, going to do some more this spring, but super, super excited to dig into this. So Miranda focuses her coaching in 3 main buckets: return to sport conditioning post-injury, something we talked about, performance training with recreational to elite level bikers, and strategic strength training for women over 30. As a Shredley ambassador, PMBIA certified MTB coach, that's a lot of letters, 20-year fitness industry vet, and champion of women, she blends her extensive coaching expertise with real-world experience to help women stay strong to play strong for the long haul. Welcome to the show, Miranda.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I love the name Play Strong.
I love it too. And it's funny because I recently rebranded last year because I found myself always saying stay strong to play strong, and that was not my original business name. And so last spring, I took on the massive undertaking of rebranding. And I was like, I've been saying this the entire time I have been a coach. Like, why wasn't that my business name to begin with? So it's much more aligned now, and I love it.
Yeah, especially hearing Marley say that in the bio. Stay strong to play strong. It's a very motivating phrase. It's very much like, this is why you would keep working out. So that was one of my questions. Like, what's one of the best ways that you've seen to motivate people to get strong?
I'm a big advocate for educating people on the why behind something. Why do you like it? Why do you like how your body feels after you're done with it? So I have found that educating people is going to be the best way to get them interested, because as we know, motivation isn't a tangible thing. It doesn't just like pop up from underneath of your desk and you're like, oh my God, there it is. I'm going to go do the thing now. Right. I'm a firm believer in teaching people that motivation follows action. So if you can get them interested to take action, then that motivation to do the workout, the bike ride, whatever it is just going to seamlessly follow. And then from there, it's just practicing that new habit over and over until it becomes something that's more autopilot.
And I always love a good reminder to anchor into a why versus a checklist versus I know that I need to do this.
Oh, 100%. Like,
yeah. I mean, for me, like getting into the gym is not motivating in and of itself. But if I know that like, okay, I need to get my butt strong to do whatever silly endeavor I have, or I need to do X to make Y happen, that's motivating to me.
I also
Oh,
didn't take
time.
that as literally getting your butt strong at first. I took it as like, get my butt to the gym. It's just like, oh no, literally need
Literally.
a strong butt muscle.
Yes. And
Right?
if you follow Miranda on Instagram, which you all should do, I'm gonna talk you up for a minute. And we don't normally talk about
Please
bodies,
do.
but Miranda has one of the juiciest booties I've ever seen on a small framed person. And
Oh
I
my
think you're
god, thanks.
we worked together at Rome Fest in the Shredley tent, which was essentially just like a 3-day long fashion show of like trying different things on.
Oh yeah.
And Miranda would put these things on and like your butt always just looks so good. But like I did like a 6-week weightlifting program earlier in the fall, and a lot of it focused on glutes and butts.
Mhm.
And I was really grateful for it because I did notice a difference in my butt almost immediately.
Yeah, I
Nice.
always say that the glutes, the hips, they're called the powerhouse of the body, right? For a couple of reasons. One, your glute is gonna be your biggest, strongest, most powerful muscle in your body, right? But at the same time, along with, like, they're visually nice to, like, wanna squeeze and all that, a lot
True.
of your strength lies in the glutes too. No matter who I work with in what capacity, what container, is I tend to start with glutes first. If we can increase strength and mobility and decrease restriction and pain in the joints and add more stability to them, other aches and pains and twinges and all that start to dissipate over time. Because if we think about where the glutes are located, they're in between your upper and lower body. So not only are they made for, you know, riding bikes, creating power, walking up and down stairs, looking dope in jeans and shorts, but they're also made to help transfer force from the lower body to the upper body. Right. And in a sport, something like biking, you're using your glutes all the time. Literally, anytime you're standing up from the saddle, the glutes are what's powering you up there. So over the years of coaching, I tend to focus there a lot and then just layer things in on top of that. Also, the glutes tended to build up strength quite quickly. So, in women, going back to that motivational factor, they can feel a difference in their strength, in their power. It starts to like psychologically get the ball rolling more.
And reinforce it.
So,
Yeah.
oh, 100%. And like, I like to tell people, like, no one's ever written a song about a small ass. So,
We love butts of all sizes,
we
but
want
all
small sizes, right?
I won't lie to you, half of what I talk about from Heated Rivalry is Connor Story's butt. So, which we will not devolve into that.
I haven't
But
watched that yet. I need to.
oh my
Oh my
god.
god, you need to
I need
You
to.
wanna
pay
talk about
attention
butt?
to his butt from like episode 1 to episode 6. Like whatever strength training program he was on during the filming, it
Could just
worked
see it happen.
because
Oh boy. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Okay, but not to get too off topic. I like what you said about the way that it's all connected. Mainly what I
Mhm.
like about it is that talking to someone who knows what's going on just like has these light bulb moments for me of like, of course that's what glutes are doing. Of course this is stability.
Mhm.
And I got a glimpse of this, like a tiny glimpse of this because I had like a little bit of knee pain unrelated to cycling, went to a physical
Mhm.
therapist and she starts working out my feet and then
Right?
my glutes and some of my core like up even further. And she's explained all of this to me. I'm like, why do my feet hurt so much? She's like, well, let me talk to you about your toes. Let me
Right?
talk to you about how it's all connected. So I just appreciate that.
today's episode of the All Bodies on Bikes podcast is brought to you by BikeTiresDirect.com with a huge selection of inventory from tires to clothing, hydration, nutrition, basically anything you need for cycling. BikeTiresDirect.com is your go-to. Use the code ALLBODS, that's ALLBODS, all capital letters, for a 10% discount. And 6% of that comes back to All Bodies on Bikes. So you're getting a discount and the organization is getting supported. Thank you so much to Bike Tires Direct for your support. Hey, Ellen, quick pause on the thing we're actually talking about to talk about something that's really, really important. Did you know that All Bodies on Bikes podcast is actually part of the All Bodies on Bikes nonprofit?
Are you saying that everything we do is about making the cycling world more inclusive and more welcoming for everybody?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And one of the best ways to support that work is by becoming a member. We have individual memberships, we've got bike shop memberships, we've got industry memberships, we've got it all.
Any membership helps fund inclusive events, education, and advocacy, and it keeps this podcast going. Plus, members get some pretty great perks like exclusive swag, industry discounts, and more.
So if this community means something to you, which we really hope it does, we would love to have you join us as members.
You can learn more, and you can join us at allbodiesonbikes.com. And now, back to the episode. What were we even saying? So, if someone does have a tweak or an ache or a pain, what should they be
So
thinking about?
first and foremost, if you are dealing with some major pain or some major injury, like you said, go to a PT first, right? But let's talk more about just like general Owwies, aches, in minor pains, right? Let's narrow it down even more. Let's relate it to biking. So, a
Yes.
lot of times, what I see in the biking world is people that want to bike as much as they can whenever they can. In the area that I live out in Park City, you've got people wanting to do all the things all at once as fast as possible all the time. Right. So when you're doing that stuff over and over, you're putting stress on your body, right? In a good way, but you are putting stress on your body. And what tends to happen over time is those movement patterns and say the knees and the hips, and feet, it starts to break down if we're not maintaining it. Like beginning of your bike season, you tune your bike so that it works well.
Mhm.
Throughout your season, if something breaks down, you replace a chain if you have to, you loop that chain. You make sure that your forks and your shocks are all working properly. And if something goes wrong, you take some time to maintenance it so that it can run well again. Well, that same shit happens with your body. Right? I like to tell people your joints, they need just as much, if not more, TLC and maintenance than your bike does, because this is our biggest piece of gear. It's our most important and vital piece of equipment. If we don't have our bodies working well, it doesn't matter how great your $10,000 bike is.
Ooh.
So we can recreate that off of the bike in the gym. So we can work exercises that are going to allow the joints to absorb force more efficiently and
Mm.
practice that. We can do exercises that are going to target the tendons above and below the knee, which are what's going to take a lot of that impact from the trail. We can train the shoulders to be more stable so you can better handle your bike in the front tire. But it can be done so in a way that can benefit just your regular outdoor weekend warrior up to your semi-pro athlete who's doing enduro races every week. There's so many ways to go about it, but then when you look at the bigger picture, it's just doing honestly the basic tune-up throughout the season and offset the stress breakdown that biking does on our bodies in the gym. I like to think of it as your bike is your sport and strength training programs are here to fill in the gaps that you can't do on the bike.
That was one of my big questions is like, if I ride my bike 100 miles in any given weekend and I'm feeling strong, I'm feeling like I'm really fit, can you just help me understand why adding strength training is important? Because I think for a lot of people who ride bikes all the time, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm fit, I'm good, I can go ride 100
Mhm.
miles," but they're missing something. Can you talk a
They
little bit
are,
about that?
yeah. The biggest thing I hear from people is, "Why would I work out in the gym? The bike is my exercise." Yes, but when we think about biking, biking is mainly endurance based, right? And that's endurance in two different ways. It's for your cardiovascular system, so biking is phenomenal for your heart and your lungs. It's also great for muscular endurance, and we need that practice on the bike for creating those two things. But what the bike doesn't do, it's not gonna train increase strength. It's not going to train increased power. It's not going to train stability and it's not going to train recovery. So, what strength training can do, and what I've tried to create for people, is a program that helps to fill in those gaps. Especially after you've done 100 miles in a weekend, you feel pretty wrecked, right? That's where we really want to bring in like strategic recovery and we want to do some TLC to the joint points with some targeted mobility. We want to address the muscles with some soft tissue work. You ever seen those lacrosse balls like doing smashing like that? And then have you ever been on a bike trail where you've got to create a lot of power really quickly? A lot of people tend to burn out, and that's the stuff that we can do off the trail in the gym. That way, when you come up to those type of obstacles on the bike, your body has not only the muscle memory and the know-how, but it's got the strength and the power within it to then complete what you've got to do on the trail without burning out immediately, right? And this is where the two come together. You've got your cardio portion of the biking and your bike skill with the gaps that we can't do on the bike. You put them together, and now all of a sudden you've got a very well performing rider who's able to get out on those consecutive bike rides, every weekend or most times throughout the week without leading to burnout and overuse injury.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I see with bikers is overuse injury because of the cyclical motion of biking. Our bodies get tired, right? They ask for breaks,
Yeah.
and if we don't listen to them or if we're asking it to do more than it's capable of, right? Bodies are smart. They don't want to do things that hurt them. It tends to show up in some form of overuse injury. And if we're burning out on a 100-mile bike ride, right? And if we've got, we're ending that bike ride with a big downhill on an exhausted body, right? That's where a lot of injuries tend to happen when the body's super fatigued and it can't perform well through fatigue.
Oh my god. I have been there. I think about, like, some of the bike packing trips I've been on, and you're, like, on the very last day, and you're like, "Cool, it's 6 miles downhill back to my car." But those 6 miles are technical, your hands are
Mhm.
cramping, your knees are screaming, and that is typically when I fall and injure myself, is when I just,
Right?
like, am exhausted and stop paying
Mhm.
attention.
But that's where we want durability and strength and power in the body is what's going to be the thing that gets you to the end safely and feeling like you performed it well and didn't just survive it.
That totally makes sense. Okay, I have a question that I don't know, Ellen, if you've ever dealt with this, or Miranda, even though you're in the fitness industry. I have major imposter syndrome when I get into a gym. Even though I've done CrossFit, I've done powerlifting, I know what I'm doing in the gym, but I get in there and I just have this like freeze of like, oh God, I don't belong. Everybody looks so much better than me. Where do I even start? Like, do you have any advice for getting over that fear and taking up space in fitness spaces?
So exactly what you just thought is what everyone else is thinking. Like everyone's in the gym thinking, "Oh my god, they're looking at me." And the person that is next to them like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
they're looking at me." No one's looking at anybody. But another thing is going in with a strategy. Like it's really hard to walk into any situation and just kind of wing it, especially in a spot that already might feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable. And this is where, working with a coach, working in a program is going to give you that extra boost of confidence because you don't have to walk in and be like, oh God, what do I do? Where do I start? What's this piece of equipment for? You can just pull up your
Mhm.
workout, like, okay, this is what I'm doing today. There's that machine. There's some resistance bands. There's some dumbbells. I can collect all those and go in my corner. And that's going to start to build up confidence because you're not having to go in there and throw darts at the wall to figure out what you should be doing. All right. And another thing
Mhm.
is if that's where a lot of people are at, there's so much benefit that can happen from just working out in your home space to build confidence there, right? You can grab a set of dumbbells and some mini bands and get a killer workout, a shorter one even, in at home that's going to make a giant difference over time on your biking. And then once you start to build up that confidence on your own in your safe space, they're like, you know what, I am going to take it to the gym today. And I've had that happen with so many of my clients that have started in home and then have started to feel stronger and then it boosts their confidence. And then they have an idea of, oh, I know what the B stance RDL is. Cool, I got this. Next thing you know, they're joining a new gym.
Nice.
All right. So it's
Yeah.
something again that takes time, it takes practice. And I've yet to meet someone that hasn't done something uncomfortable and has grown from it. Like I think that's really great sometimes to put ourselves in those situations and figure out, how do I navigate this? Same thing in
Right.
biking. Like you get a novice biker and they're new to the bike and they have that imposter syndrome and they feel like they don't belong and they stick with it. They go through that uncomfortable growth. And next thing you know, they're on the other side of it.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
feel like I have 2 thoughts on this. One would be, I guess you could
Yeah.
also just start you could go to the gym and walk on a treadmill. Everybody knows what that
Oh,
looks like. So, like, that gets
100%.
you comfortable with the space. But then I saw a clip on Instagram of one of the I think it was from the Olympics, the skeleton athletes.
Hmm.
One of the skeleton athletes who was on the treadmill, like, holding a barbell. So, like, they were flat out and
Oh, yeah,
running,
yeah. I've
like,
seen
in the
this.
middle of the gym. Did you see this?
Uh huh.
And so without the context of that's a skeleton athlete, you're just like, "What is this person doing?" And yeah,
Hmm.
nobody in the gym was giving them a second thought. And it's like,
No
if
one
that person
cares.
is, like, using this yeah, using this treadmill in such a strange way and everyone's like, "Oh, all right, what else?
Right?
You got something
Do
going
your
on
thing.
that
Like
we don't
it's
know about."
2026. Nothing's surprising us anymore.
I will say, I wanna jump in real quick that
Yeah,
as a bigger bodied person, that is not always the case. There
okay.
are assholes who record fat people who and I think in general people have gotten better about this. And, whenever somebody posts a video of a bigger bodied person at the gym working out, all the comments are like, yo, bro, why are you giving this person shit? Like, they are working to make their body, like, they're working on themselves. But I want to fully acknowledge that the gym can be a very scary place if you are a bigger body person or a fat person. And there are like size inclusive gyms that specifically have like fat lifting hours. So if that's pertinent to your life, I'd encourage you to find a space that feels welcoming and inclusive to you, because even though like it feels like, or we can say, nobody's looking at you, nobody cares, that truly might not be the case for some folks. And I want to acknowledge that it's very real, that fat shaming in fitness spaces is very real.
And it's such a shame that that's happening because most of the time it's the person that's filming that feels the worst about themselves.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so they have to do something to make themselves feel better. And part of me wishes I would see this happen in the gym at some point just so I could be like, let's go. This is my moment. And just like, but that's something I try to be conscientious of. For each exercise, I'm going to give 3 or 4 different versions. That way people can do the workouts, do the exercise in a space that feels best for them.
I love that, and having gone through your program, I can attest to that. I have pretty severe arthritis in my knee, and I sent you a couple videos of like,
Mhm.
"Okay, I'm doing this movement, and this hurts, and this hurts, and this hurts," and you were like, "Okay, we're just not gonna do that movement anymore because of what's going on in your body." So I appreciate all the modifications that you make available. Can we talk a little bit about return from injury and why lifting is important, why getting strong is an important part of return from injury, and like, what does that look like for folks?
Yeah, so someone
Please.
gets hurt, right? From there, maybe they have surgery, maybe they don't. And then they tend to go to PT. And then nowadays with PT, one of two things tends to happen. A, their insurance runs out and they can't afford PT on their own, or they've gotten as much as they can out of physical therapy and it's time to go on to something else. Let's focus on, for example, an ACL, one of the most common injuries that I work with. People get hurt, do the surgery, go to PT, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to go back to my sport now. And 9 times out of 10, they are nowhere near the point they need to be to then handle the demands of their sport. And then their re-injury rate can be as high as 80%. If you ever hurt your ACL, you don't want to go through that shit twice. Um, so someone like me comes in and we take where PT left off and we work them up to the space where they can get back confidently moving in their sport again and not thinking that every turn or every step off the bike is going to do the thing that hurts their knee, right? And so this can look different for everybody. And I encourage, if you are someone that's dealing with a bigger injury, is working with a return to sport coach so that we can teach you more of those sport demands and really build up the strength, the power, the endurance of your body, and especially that injury. That way, when you get back to your sport, you're doing it without second guessing anything. I also work with a lot of people that have had injuries in the past and like their knees never the same afterwards. And there's a lot of stuff that we can do that then focuses on building up the tendons, the ligaments. So it's all about being incredibly strategic. Most times, and the hardest thing I find with people that are outdoor based is teaching them to pull back a little bit. Like, yes, you feel good here, but this is the cautionary zone, right? When we're feeling good, but what the data is giving us and what I'm seeing is we're still not quite there yet. And that's where a lot of people are playing with fire, right? So it's teaching them strategy, teaching them the proper exercises, teaching them when and how to pull back. Another big one is teaching them how to navigate flare ups. Because if you've ever had a big injury, I've had one, flare ups are going to happen, right? And that can destroy somebody or they can learn how their body's talking to them. And then over time, this is just all builds up. Next thing you know, we're back on our sport feeling good and performing well.
As somebody who's looking at a knee replacement in my near future, it gives me
Mhm.
hope
Oh,
that
yeah.
my cycling days are not over.
And they're not, and that's why I tell people, like, yes, is it kind of a pain in the butt to go through that whole process? Can it be a little pricey? Absolutely, but at the same time, if it's going to get us back to our passion and what makes us feel alive and sparks us joy, what is a year of rehab compared to 30 more years biking? Or you can look at it the other way and be like, "I don't wanna spend money on that, it's not worth my time," and then wind up in the gnarly injury cycle over and over and over, which unfortunately I see more often than not.
It's hard to see the long view when you're in it, when you wanna be back in your sport, when you're excited to try to do something again, but
Mhm.
I think we all hear it a lot that if you can do it right, then that longevity
Yeah,
is there.
right? You like to
That
Yeah,
do it
especially
once.
for cycling. Like, I plan to be
yeah.
85 and riding my bike. Like, that's
100%. We
Yeah.
all wanna
a
we all wanna be
non-negotiable
that
for my
person.
life.
Muscle mass is the fountain of
Mhm.
youth. It is a hill I will die on. And the more muscle mass and durability you have on your body, the more capability that you have to do the thing that you love for as long as you wanna do it.
We're starting to hear more and more about it. I think we haven't necessarily hit on this yet, so segue, but as you age, as your body stops responding to your 22-year-old, like, hormones and everything like that, like,
Right?
everything is shifting. The more you do now, the longer you will feel good, the longer you will have the mobility that you expect to have. So, like, maybe walk us through that. What does the long view of it look like? How does stuff change as we age?
So the long view of it is we want to feel good and we want to move well for as long as possible. And that's why I enjoy working with people over the age of 30, especially women, because our bodies change and it kind of feels like it's happening overnight sometimes. Because what, like you said,
Mhm.
what worked well in our 20s doesn't work in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s. And women after the age of 30, we start to lose strength and power at a rate of 3 to 8% per decade if we're not actively working to maintain it. And then as we get up there in age, those percentages start to increase. So it can be really scary. So if you think about it,
Mhm.
after the age of 30, if you haven't done anything to actively maintain your strength and your power, your muscle mass on your body, in 20 years, you could lose up to 20% or more of your strength and power. That's a scary statistic to me because that's
20%?
It
it can
is,
be
yeah.
up to high as that, right? Because each year
Ugh.
you lose 3 to 8%, and that increases as you get older. And so when you think about that, it's not just strength and power at that point. It's your body autonomy, it's your independence, it's your happiness, it's your quality of life. And so for me, strength training isn't always about sport and performance. It's about quality of life and daily living. You're not doing it for who you are now, you're doing it for future you. It's
Yeah.
it's the biggest return in investment that you can make with the simplest and most basic effort. Like, I tell people the bare minimum of strength training is going to pay off tenfold. It doesn't take much. Like, you can take things to, a performance level, like we talked about biking, or you can do that bare minimum and you're still going to get these massive benefits, especially for women, right? And there's no men specific workouts, women specific workouts. It's all the freaking same, right? we want,
Good to know. Yeah.
right? We want to strength train with weights that are going to challenge our body, that are going to work us towards muscle failure, because we want that in the gym and especially in a strength program. We want to work exercises that are going to, you know, keep us snappy, keep us poppy, keep us reactive, and we don't need to be doing 2 hours in the gym every session with, 20 plus different exercises. We can get such great benefit from 30 to 45 minutes, 2 days a week of working anywhere from like 5 to 8 exercises. The most simple
That's great.
foundation ever. And that's what I want more people to know, is that fitness doesn't have to be complicated and noisy the way it is now, and especially online.
Yeah.
I like to teach people to see fitness, so keep it simple, effective, and efficient.
Ooh, I
The
like that.
right?
Simple, effective, efficient.
Yep,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
call it my C method, and we just wanna make it super approachable to everybody. And then we can play around from there. But if you make something approachable from the start, be like, I could explain my workout to my 5-year-old. Like, people
Right.
want to keep going with that. And then you can start to layer things on, but there's no need to make it noisy. Let's keep it simple, do the basics. And I promise you, like, I've never had someone come to me and regret getting stronger ever. If it does, I'll let
For
y'all
sure.
happen.
Yes, please do
Yep.
follow up.
Yeah, I'll let you
Yeah,
guys know. Never
I I
happened.
I just love that because it's like I think so many of us are so intimidated with like where to start. And by keeping it simple, keeping it efficient, it's like, cool, I'm not changing my entire lifestyle
No.
and going to the gym 5 days a week. It's like if I can carve out 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes twice a week, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming, do some squats, do some lunges, do some
Mhm.
like targeted exercises. It's going to make a difference, which reminds
Yeah.
me, I I would benefit from getting back into the gym. I was like making a really good effort. And then the holidays came and I just forgot. And now
Mhm.
I found myself last night sitting
Yeah.
on my couch for 2 hours. I could have done a
Right.
couple squats.
Right.
The letter C on top of your SEEC is like
Mhm.
I just happen to have gone through this with running before it got really cold and, suddenly I was able to show up and like consistently run and I was able to see the results, no pun intended, but it's like that
Mhm.
does motivate. And that was where it's like, as much as you do want it to be simple, effective, efficient, I think then after that, consistent so that it's something that is sustainable for you to build. And I love that a lot of what we talked about could help someone be consistent, whether that is figuring out what is it about going to the gym that you need to get more comfortable with, or if that's figuring out what are the exercises that you feel comfortable doing and feel like it's going to strengthen what you want to be doing in
Mhm.
later in life, but then also that anchor into the why of why you're doing this to where you have something that feels more tangible versus just I know that I'm supposed to, maybe I will.
Mhm.
So I love that all of that kind of gets summed up in the C that you explained and then the consistency too.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to bring into the off trail program that I created was to teach people that you don't have to do these big elaborate things to get better or feel better on your bike. Like let's meet people where they're at. Let's teach them the science behind this in a way that makes sense to them. Let's teach them exercises that they can do from their home in 20 minutes. And let's put everyone in a group of like minded individuals that have the same goal and also love riding. Right. And that was my
Yeah.
big idea with off trails. Like, let's throw it online so that everyone can join with it.
Well, let's back up a little bit.
Right.
You taught us it was like one of the most useful things I've ever had was cycling
Ooh,
because this was like a mountain biking retreat. We were about to go ride in Moab, so like fairly challenging terrain. And it was like like a 5-minute warm up just to like get your body moving. And I was like,
mhm.
oh, duh, I should probably warm up my joints before I go throw myself off a rock face. So
Right? And it's little
That's
things that
awesome.
like that make a huge difference that I try and bring to my community and off trail is it's a year-round mountain biking conditioning program because I realize that depending on where you are, your season might not be the same as mine. So I've
mhm.
created a preseason, an in-season, and a postseason program for people. And right now I'm about to launch my preseason program, which I would like to tell you guys a little bit more about. 'Cause it's
Sure.
a little bit different this year. So this year for off trail, I'm trying something new and I'm making a group membership because what I've noticed over the years is the season of biking is really long anymore. So it seemed kind of silly to break it up into all these different cohorts. So coming up in the end of March, I've got 2 different options for you guys to come and try off trail with me. And Shredley's gonna help me on this, and we're doing a fun challenge week together. That's going to be completely free for I know it's gonna be completely free for everybody. It's going to be March 16th through the 20th, and it's done online. So anyone can join. I sent you guys the link, and the link is up on my website. It's called the Gear Up Challenge, and it's 5 days of super simple challenges that people can do. I'm going to be sending out 5 mini workouts. They're 10 to 15 minutes long, and they're going to focus on the 5 pillars of my mountain biking program. And then we're doing 2 live workshops in there too. So I'm going to pull out 2 of those pillars and dive a little bit deeper into them with a 45-minute workshop. And one of those workshops is going to be me guiding you guys through what a strategic recovery session looks like that you guys can then use after longer bike rides. Um, and Shredley supporting this in the fact that everyone that comes is going to be getting a little bit of a discount just for
Oh, cool.
participation prize. Us millennials, we love that.
Oh, we do.
And then we're also giving away 2 Shredley gift cards. And then I'm giving away a discounted season pass for one of my programs. And then I'm giving away a full free entry to one of my programs. It's called Group Ride. So
Nice.
super excited for that one. It's 7 months long. So I'm offering a season pass to it. And anyone that pops on to the Shredley challenge is going to have access to 50% off of it. And then
Nice.
I know it's pretty dope. I'm super excited.
50%, that's
and,
pretty big.
and a little
Yeah.
nervous because I've never run a membership before, but we're going to go for it and see what happens.
Do it.
And then people can join throughout that whole 7 months, and it's a monthly membership. On the other end of the spectrum, I realize that some people in the biking world have big objectives, and I've created a separate program for those people called Ascend. And that one is going to be my small group cohort. People are getting some one-on-one time with me. All the information on the Shredly Gear Up Challenge and then group ride and Ascend versions of Off Trails up on my website. And I invite you guys to go and check those out because not to toot my own horn, but like beep beep, they're pretty freaking awesome. And this will be year 4 with Off Trail. So I'm super excited to
Awesome.
be at a point where I can offer something to everybody in the bike world if they want it.
Yeah.
And it's a really
Fantastic.
cool community space. So I'm super excited.
I love that. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
being with us today, Miranda. I feel like
Yeah.
I've learned
Thanks
a
for
lot and
having
had
me.
some good snippets to take away. So thanks for that.
No, thanks for having me. I
Thanks,
could talk
Miranda.
bikes and strength training and dogs all day long.
And butts.
And butts.
And booties. We love booties.